For 25 years, you were everything to her. You were the North Star, you were her first hero, the bedtime storyteller. You were a shoulder to cry on and the one that mom got mad at when the two of you were goofing off or you were staying up too late. At times, she was embarrassed by you and maybe even banished you from her room. But at the core of it all, you, my friend, you were the first man in her life. Think about that. You may not have always been there physically because of work and such, but you were always a steady influence, the first man in her life. And all of that work was doing two things. It was giving her a safe place to grow and develop her sense of self, and you were being an example of the person that she would ultimately want to spend her life with long term. I became a father-in-law twice in the span of 13 months. And as the day approached where my daughter became someone's wife, I came to this realization that the measure of a father isn't how tightly he holds on, but it's how confidently he can let go. And then that day comes, and she walks down that aisle, and in a single kiss, your title changes. Yes, you will always be dad, but now you're not the kingpin anymore. You've been reassigned, my friend. You are now Consigliere. And if you don't learn how to now lead without authority, you risk one of the most important relationships you've invested 25 years into. Now, I got to tell you, before we go any further, this video is not about helping her make the right relationship decisions. I know deep inside every father has a secret prayer that she finds a good person, one who's willing to put in the work and understand her and just get her and keep that safe harbor feeling you created when she was your little girl. But that work was done decades ago, and it's too late to reverse course. She's chosen her partner. So if you're clinging on to that, you just need to let it go. This video is about your conduct now, not toward her, but toward him, your son-in-law. It's about learning how to respect boundaries and know when to weigh in with objective influence as opposed to being the one who knows best. It's about coaching him through tough moments, not rescuing her from them. It's about moving from that place where people listen to you because they have to a relationship with your son-in-law where he listens because he desires your blueprint, your insights. Now, there is this quiet, private moment where fathers realize that they're no longer the primary man in their daughter's world. And so many men in this age group, this over 50 phase, struggle with this because we're used to being the superhero, the one who sees trouble and wants to fly in and save the day. But the problem with most superhero characters is that they see themselves as an ultimate solution, and then they never develop the local authorities to fix their own problems. I've seen this. I've seen it in business. I've seen it under roof. You built your life on being the guy who fixes things. But now fixing things might be the thing that breaks it because it's her house now. It's her home. And she's not looking for your strength, your provision, your decision making. She's now looking to be rescued. And in many cases, it's not even warranted or welcome. It creates friction and it diminishes her position in the marriage as his partner. And it places pressure on her to make uncomfortable decisions. Now, reference Genesis 2:25, which says they become one flesh. That means there's no room for you in that union. They become one flesh. Now, we all know that flesh can tear, mistakes will happen, friction occurs, and while the flesh eventually finds a way to heal itself, you can be the one who tends to the wound. Not usurp the process by being the surgeon, just the medic who shows up and makes sure there's no infection and that the healing can begin. You're now a steward of his success as her husband. So you might think to yourself, well, he's got a father. Why does he need me? Well, he doesn't. He doesn't need you. Certainly not as a father or a father figure if he has one. Now, this isn't about waving off his dad. Here's the reality. His father knows how to be a husband to his wife, and he knows how to respond to the needs of his own daughters. But those reference points, they're not nearly seated enough for how your son-in-law handles things with your daughter. His father doesn't know your daughter, her nuances, her reaction to stress, her way of processing important decisions. You, on the other hand, you hold context that nobody else has. You were there when her reference points were being formed. You know what that specific look in her eye means. You know the exact tone that shuts her down. So you aren't replacing his dad. You're helping him become a husband to this specific woman who happens to be your daughter, and nobody knows better than you. So this is almost like becoming Marty McFly in Back to the Future. This is where it gets a little humbling. To lead him, you have to be willing to look in the rearview mirror. You're going to see him make mistakes, and if you're honest with yourself, there's a good chance that they're the same mistakes that you made with your wife 20 plus years ago. The hardest part of this whole thing is being the silent observer. And there's real strength in that. It takes massive restraint to watch life go south for a moment and not feel compelled to interfere. But remember, if you rescue her, you diminish him. And there is no better way to damage a relationship with him than to rescue her. When you swoop in, you're telling your daughter that he isn't capable. And that would be an insult to her because she chose him. The Superman trap tells you that to be the man your family needs, you have to be the most present, capable authority in the room. But the father-in-law blueprint says that your success is measured by how little you're needed. You have to desire the success of their marriage more than your desire to fix it. That's your new job. That's your legacy. I'm ArnieCAP. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing.